Hi guys, Mario Barth with another answer for your question. How you can improve the longevity of the tattoo what you created. Two separate answers, I think, for client or for tattoo artist. For the tattoo artist is if you create the tattoo, the best way to really get good longevity out of the tattoo and your art what you just created is to really instruct your client about aftercare which you prefer. There is where you have the most experience with what you think is the best results for healing when your work comes back, right? We all have a little bit a different opinion. My personal opinion is like to use a second skin bandage and leave that on for at least 24 hours to protect the tattoo for the first dust and particles will come around, which is the most critical time in my experience. And then make sure the customer really keeps the tattoo clean and understands the aftercare. Usually when a tattoo is finished, the tattoo artist worked for 5-6 hours and now he just wants to do the aftercare instructions and it makes him like, yeah, you know, like hang loose a little bit at a time. It's really important that that your client understands what just happened to him, right? Like you had an invasive procedure on the skin. There's a possibility, always a possibility of some infections if it's not taken care of correctly. If he goes on the beach and goes in the ocean by the salt water, his tattoo is going to get burned out. So you need to make those explanations to them. You need to really take your time and get in their head and say like, listen, this is what I want you to do. Point A, point B, point C, point D. Do you understand all those parts? Please come back in about 7 days and let me see the tattoo, how it looks. And then at that time you will already know if you have to ask for a touch-up section or a session for it or not. As a tattoo artist, you will see, is it important that it comes back in another 2-3 weeks when the skin is completely healed and you have the opportunity to touch up some of your work. But you know, everybody's skin is a little bit different, so it's always a trial and error. You can go with the rule of thumb and try to put it in the right direction, and then make sure you keep a mental note on every single client how they reacted, or write it down or put it into a file for your client when you have a lot of returning clients so they understand has difficulty healing, is diabetes, it's like more difficult to heal tattoos, prone to keloids, so stuff like that, but you have to find out when you speak with your client when they sign the paperwork. That's number one for the tattoo artist. And then of course you can ask for a touch-up session in general after the first summer, because it's going to take a while until the colors set in, especially color pieces. People go out in the summer, they lay out in the sun, their skin tans, the colors lose a little bit on their intensity. In the winter you can touch them up and you give them a second coat, right? Then you get more particles in the skin and the colors stay brighter, and it's going to sure affect the longevity. For an end consumer, which we call the client, it's really important that you follow those instructions to the T. You need to keep your tattoo clean. You need to wash it at least 2 or 3 times a day with an antibacterial soap. Don't rub on it, don't pull on it. Make sure it's smooth, let it air dry. If you have dirty chops, make sure you cover your tattoo, and make sure it's not a wool clothes what you use with a lot of wool in it with little particles, because they tend to stick to the surface of your skin and then create a crust, and then with the crust the color comes out because the body tries to reject the pigment. So it's try to keep the skin moist, do not overload it. Big problem in for longevity of tattoos is like in the first week the clients overload the skin with ointments, and especially oil-based ointments, which are, well, worst part A and D, right? I mean, I don't want to make any advertising or non-endorsements or whatever, but it's widely used. It's a thick, oily substance what goes on top of the skin, and it just clogs up all your pores. It's very difficult for the skin to heal with it. It's additional stress on the skin, and it's very difficult to remove with some soap and water. So because it's an oil-based product, and oil and water really doesn't get along, right? We know that. So try to find something that's non-scented, keep moisturizing it, and go back to your tattoo artist after a while and let him see it. And then there's no better substance than using specialty, especially high in vitamin E, or some skin care lotions which keep your skin moist. You want to make sure that your skin stays moist on the colors just look better when they're shiny and when they're moist and not dried out and flaky, and they have like the part of the dead skin on top, right, which makes it always dusty looking in a way. So try to keep moisturizing your skin in a proper way with some good item, and go back to your tattoo artist after 6 months or a year and let him touch up the work. And in the meantime, just keep using cream. Your skin is going to get softer. When your skin is softer, it's easier for the tattoo artist to work on. Your color's going to stay better. The opacity from the colors, the light fastness is going to stay. Keep it out of the sun. Listen to the aftercare. He will tell you, don't go into the sun too much. Don't go out and hang out and like get baked in the sun every single day. It's not only good for your skin, but it's also not good for your tattoo. But use a good sunblock, 30% and higher. 50% would be the best. There's not a big difference to see between 40 and 50, but I would go for the highest possible. So that's what I would say for the longevity. As of right now, if you guys want to have more detailed information, just ask the question and I'm going to answer them as good to my knowledge as I can. And I look forward to see all your great work out there, okay? Peace. Keep on buzzing.